Hey everyone, I've come to the conclusion that online dating absolutely sucks. And it's a wonder it's taken me this long because there have been so many times where I've almost reached the breaking point of giving up on it, and yet for whatever reason I've decided to keep powering through and still try online dating apps and see if maybe by some mere stroke of luck I would meet some great women on there. And I guess that's one of the downsides of my mentality of having a strong mindset, because I probably should have given up on it way sooner and just avoided wasting a lot of time and energy. But I kept powering through thinking that maybe something would be different. But I'm here to tell you, online dating is just a shit show. It's no good. And the reason why, especially for men, is it's a really shallow experience. You don't know anything about these people, and the way to get to know them is kind of difficult. You have to send text messages back and forth, and that's not normally how we're wired to communicate. I mean, when you approach somebody in person and you start to get to know them that way, there's energy behind what you say, there's the intention, there's your tone of voice, there's your eye contact, there's your posture, your demeanor. There are so many things that impact attraction and even just the getting to know them process. But as soon as you go online, all of that is lost. Now, literally all that's left is the words you say and your images to let the other person know whether or not they find you attractive. And that's it. There's nothing else to go off of, because you can't translate your tone of voice or your energy via text all that well. I mean, you can try, but I can't tell you how many times I've tried making jokes and women just don't get it, or in some cases they somehow, even with emojis and winky faces and whatnot, they don't understand that I'm joking and they get offended. So you just never know how they're going to interpret what you say. So even trying to translate your energy doesn't often work via text. There's just so much shallowness in there. And even if you manage to video chat with someone, which I've had so many video chat dates by this point that I almost feel like I'm a master at them, but even then, there's only so much you can do because you're not physically there with them. And quite often they're kind of awkward because you're both just staring at your cameras and staring at the screen, and it's only the upper half of you that you can see, and you can't like touch them or anything. And there's just, I mean, what are you meant to do? You're just sitting there talking to each other. It works, it's better than sending text messages back and forth, but there's still something missing there. And then there's also the problem of quite often you're never going to meet up. I mean, that's like 99% of the time you are never going to meet up, because either the conversation just dies out, or they're flaky, or for whatever reason they're on online dating apps but they don't want to meet up, which in that case I guess they're there for attention or validation, or God knows what. Maybe they're playing games trying to get an ego boost, who knows. But all these things combined into one has just made me lose any desire to continue participating in online dating. And I feel like this problem is worse for men because, I mean, speaking as a man myself, it's so difficult. Like, in person is one thing. There's some difficulty there because you have to get over your own nerves, your anxiety. You have to be confident enough to approach a woman, especially the attractive ones, because, I mean, their looks alone can make them intimidating, which is kind of funny, but I mean, it's true. Every guy knows it. So there's some difficulty there. But once you've approached and you're talking to them, like I said, all those previous things, your energy and whatnot, come into play, and it's so much easier to develop that attraction and to get to know her as well, because you can feel her energy and see what she's like. I mean, it's very hard to pretend to be someone you're not in person like that. You have to kind of be vulnerable. But with online dating, you can easily hide all of that. But beyond that, I've found that with online dating, women have so many options that it's like you have to prove yourself to each and every one, which some guys may be cool with that because they don't know their worth and their value and they like to play that stupid game. But any guy who's worked on himself and knows what he brings to the table, they're going to have no desire whatsoever to prove themselves to anyone. And yet, you're not gonna very likely be able to get a woman out on a date in person if you don't impress her in some way. So it's like now you have the conundrum of trying to impress her without trying to impress her. If you get what I mean. Basically, a guy who has value to bring isn't going to try to impress her purposefully, but he has to in some way to be able to intrigue her enough to want to meet up with him. So then it's like, how do you impress her without purposely trying to? And yeah, it's just, there's a lot of shallowness and superficiality with it, and it's no fun. I mean, here's the thing. The online dating experience for men and women is so freaking different that for all the ladies out there, if you don't know what online dating is like for a man, please look it up or find some YouTube videos. Just find or talk to your guy friends and ask them to see their Tinder profiles or their Hinge or whatever other dating app they use and see how many matches they have and how many women actually respond to their messages and whatnot, because it'll blow you away. Guys are lucky to get maybe even like 10 matches a month. I'm serious with that. A month, 10 matches a month. That's like you're killing it. For women, they get like 10 matches, well, way more than 10 matches a day. So women can't even usually wrap their head around how hard it is for guys online. It's just such a different experience. That's why I feel like when I've talked about online dating in some of my previous videos, women can't quite empathize with what I'm saying because the experience is so different for them that they don't know what I'm talking about when I say it's like it's a complete numbers game, and it just makes you feel like you have no value over time. It makes you lose your self-esteem because you don't get very many matches. It's the way the algorithm works. I mean, online dating apps, vast majority of people on there, the user base, are men. I think it's something ridiculous, like almost, I think the 80-20 rule almost holds true for online dating, but I think it's less than, I think it's like 70-30 or so. It's like 70% men, 30% women on dating apps. It's crazy. So the algorithm literally works in such a way that women have all the options, just like they do in real life as well. But I mean, in online dating, it's what's the word? Exaggerated, hardcore. It's just made even worse. So you can be a high value guy and you'll get very few matches unless you show off having a Lamborghini or something and manage to attract gold diggers, because otherwise all you have is your bio and your pictures and that's it. And that can work in some cases, but unless you're just a genius with that, you probably aren't going to make something that's great enough to attract even close to half of the women that you swipe right on. So it's just very difficult to get matches in the first place. And after a while, it really does start to make you lose self-esteem a bit. You have to almost focus on not losing it, because over time you're like, why am I not getting matches? Am I not good enough? Am I not attractive enough? What's going on? But the truth is, it's just the freaking algorithm. You could have all the value in the world. You could bring so much to the table. You could be incredibly attractive, and you're still not going to get a whole lot of matches because the algorithm favors women. I mean, think about it. All the dating apps make money off of you using it longer, right? Because you'll buy Boost, you'll buy whatever things they have, you'll buy their premium crap, I don't know, whatever the things are that you spend money on to increase your odds of getting matches. That's what they want you to do. So they're literally incentivized to make men struggle on there. They don't want you to win because then they don't get any money from you. So they're literally designed to screw men over. So it's crazy. And man, it's such a weird thing. And I've come to a point where I believe almost all men shouldn't engage in online dating. Unless you're like a pro at it and you can preserve your self-esteem while using it, I just don't think many guys should use it. I mean, take it from me. I've got a good mindset. Well, I mean, you guys should know if you've been following me for a while. And yet, I can tell you, even I start to feel a bit worse about myself over time the more that I use it. Because so often you'll talk to a woman and if you're lucky, she'll respond, but then after a while, she just stops responding, or even as soon as you try to get them out on a date or a video chat or just something to escalate, they just go silent and ghost you. It's just the same thing over and over again. Or there's so many times where I do set up in-person dates and then they cancel like a few hours before we're supposed to meet up, or they flake, or you meet up and you only get one date and it goes nowhere from there. There's just so much effort that guys put in to receive nothing. It's not worth it. I mean, it's a waste of time and energy, and especially because you need to protect your mental health and make sure your self-esteem doesn't lower over time. So I truly believe if you are a good guy and you have value to bring to the table, do not use online dating, gents. Just don't. Approach women in person or meet them through your friend group or whatever methods you have. Just focus on in person, because there you stand a chance. But online dating is just, the cards are, the odds are stacked against you. It's just, yeah, it's just not worth it. Believe me, guys, just meet women in person. They're far less likely to flake on you if they like your energy in person, because then they have an idea of what you're like. But online, even if they like your energy with a video call or something, they still don't fully know you well enough, and they're far more likely to flake on you, and then you'll have wasted your time and energy. So just focus on in-person interaction. That's where all the magic is. Start working on having the courage to approach and that sort of thing, and just go from there. I don't believe online dating is worth it unless you're incredibly good at it, and then if that's the case, kudos to you. You found some way to work through a system that is actually designed to work against you. So you're killing it. That's awesome. But for everybody else, just don't even bother. Anyway, I realize this video is kind of more like a rant or me just sharing my opinion, but I just had to make a video on this because I've had enough experience with this by now, and just gotten to a point where I'm done with it, and I don't believe it's worth it for the vast majority of people in general, men and women. But I'm obviously going to be telling this more to men, since they're literally designed to screw us over. It's not the case with women. Women, you guys stand to benefit from online dating quite a bit because of the way the algorithm works. But even then, most of the people you encounter are going to be low quality guys, just because, remember, there's like 70% of the users on there are men, which means the vast majority of them are going to be low quality. So even you don't stand to benefit from it, even with them working in your favor. So if you ask me, I just say nobody should use online dating. Just work on building yourself up, and then meet people in person, and never make meeting someone your main priority, your sole focus in life. Just always put yourself first and work on making your life better, and then you'll inevitably attract higher quality people. And once you meet someone, then you can start pursuing them and building something with them long term. But just don't make that your main goal in life. That leads to loneliness and unhappiness, and it's just stupid. But anyway, I need to cut this video here. It's getting way too long. But I hope you somehow enjoyed my honesty here. I really hope this doesn't come off like a rant, but maybe it does, and if so, oh well, who cares? It's authentic. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Arrivederci.